on some no-gi Tai Otoshi.
Get down here.
Now, there are, to me, this is just my thinking of it over the years, you're always going to have hikite, your pulling hand. That's the essential thing. But because Tai Otoshi, as we know, is a teiwaza, or hand technique. But your other hand, your surite, your power hand, your controlling hand, your lifting hand, has different functions in it when it's no gi. Okay, we don't have a jacket to set up and do all this stuff because there's no jacket, or it could be singlet or something. So when we're tied up in here, there are four methods to use, in my thinking anyway, four methods of using your right hand, in this case, your surite. The first one would be an overhook, like a whizzer, okay? And when you do this, we're tied up here, we're doing just overhook, and just a good old whizzer grip here, okay? Now, when you get your whizzer, if you have a jacket on, you can grab the jacket, but since if there's nothing there, what you do is just place your hand here, okay, along his pectoral region. That way you get control with him, you get contact with him. If I just let it hang, he'll beat me, he'll kill the grip. So hook here, and when you're doing it constantly, like jerking it in this way, thumb up, okay? Control on your whizzer like this, okay? Then when you come into your Tai Otoshi, it's this. You're doing a lot of lifting this way, thumb up, okay? So on your overhook or your whizzer grip, when you come in, start to lift. See how I'm lifting with my right hand as much, okay? So I'm lifting into the direction, and then the Tai Otoshi, okay? So that's the whizzer, the overhook. The underhook is where I underhook here, and see how when I grab the underhook, I just don't grab it with a lot of people will grab fingers to the sky. I don't think that's efficient because I can't control the shoulder. So when I do this here, and then wrap my hand over his shoulder, and it sucks his shoulder to my shoulder. See that? Okay, so now I've got an underhook here, and I just can lift with it that way. See how I'm still lifting the whole thing? So I'm using my hands because it is a teiwaza. So underhook, lift. See that? There's a Tai Otoshi. That's a very common one. You see that a lot in wrestling. I know a lot of you guys may have done some wrestling, and a lot of times high school wrestlers walk into your Tai Otoshi and generally can underhook like this. It's you just boom, and that's the lift. So it's a very common one. So it's very you see that a lot. Another one is around the waist, just a tight waist. So we're tying here and tight waist them here, and just around the waist here. And what I'm going to do as I lift with my hand around the waist, I just pull them into me in the Tai Otoshi. See, so it's still over the Tai Otoshi, a little more hip into it, but you're grabbing around the waist, almost like an ogoshi, major hip throw. So we're here and we tight waist them like that, and like that, okay? And Derek's going to show all these in a moment here. Now the last one is pretty obvious one around the neck, like a kubinagi neck throw. So we're head and arm, okay? And when I come in, I tie them up, pull them, just grab around the neck. Now I don't bulldog them. I like to grab here, right under this part of the arm here, the armpit. And when I pull, keep pulling up in, and there's the Tai Otoshi. Again, I'm pulling up and lifting. So I'm lifting a lot with my hikite, my pulling hand, but I'm also lifting with the surite, my lifting hand, okay? So can you do some of those? So let's look at the overhook, the whizzer, where he comes and he overhooks, and notice when he does this, he's killing the whole shoulder, his thumbs up, okay, and got that there. And as he lifts up here with his right hand, he's going to really lift out at the elbow, pulling on the elbow. Don't grab below. A lot of wrestlers will grab the wrist. That's too long of a space, okay? It's too long of a grip. So you want to get here and be able to lift them and tighten your Tai Otoshi. So can you Tai Otoshi?
So you've got two little nubs on the side of your elbow there too. So you can kind of grab a little higher and let it slide down, and it gets caught on those nubs, and it won't slide past that if you've got any bit of a grip. So just bear that in mind. Up.
And you see, he's still using his hands, so it's very much a teiwaza, a hand technique. So overhook, lift, and then overhook is not a lazy overhook. Watch Derek when he comes in. When he overhooks with his right hand, he just jacks that up. See? And by jacking that up, that lifts Jake forward into the direction of the throw as he pulls with, and he steps right in. Classic leg split, 50-50 split on the legs like we always do. Tai Otoshi. Okay, now the underhook is a very common one. This is popular. So you got Tai here, and look, lift up your head just a second. See how he's trapped that hand on the shoulder? See that? That's really important, guys, because what he's done, if he had his fingers straight up in the air, a lot of people teach this, and I think it's wrong personally. You lose control of his shoulder. You got to have that shoulder. So when he does this, traps, Jake's in trouble. He's stolen his whole shoulder. Derek's stolen Jake's entire shoulder from him at this point, and it can start to, and he can lift up as he comes in, and he turns and throws.
So normally I keep my head on the inside for this one, and then as I'm coming out, that's when you start lifting, and your hand still stays on top. So don't get in the habit of trying to do this, okay, because that just makes his elbow go up high, and he clamps down on the wizard.
That's a really good point. A lot of guys will try to look fancy with their hand up in the air. No, that's inefficient movement, in my opinion. Keep it there, yeah.
Okay, so as I come out, he's moving up with the hands.
Okay, just good catch it. There you go. And again, a lot of pull. It's 50-50 split in the legs. Nice posture. Okay, now the other one is the tight waist. And you're basically just wrapping your hand around his waist. Turn around so everybody can see it in the back. Can you see how just tight waisted in there? And he's controlling, he's reached all the way around about where the belt line is, and he's grabbed Jake at the far hip here, okay? And what he'll do, go ahead, turn back. Yeah, go ahead and face the camera there. And then it's just a tight waist, it's facing around. And you know, a lot of times, you know, all the old coaches, judo and jiu-jitsu and sambo, a lot of times you'll teach kids ogoshi, and they'll be doing this, won't they? You know, well, in this case, it's kind of pretty good for us because that's what we want to do. It's a Tai Otoshi, but around the waist. It's a tight waist Tai Otoshi, no gi. Now the fourth one is around the neck. It's pretty much just a head and arm. And again, the key thing here is when we were talking about before, when he grabs, look at how Derek grabbed right under the far armpit here, right here, up here at the light area. And that's going to be helping him lift and pull. You don't want to bulldog him over. You want to lift him over your body. Again, it's a hand technique, so go ahead and toss it.
And a lot of times this is good if he's already beaten you to the inside. And so his head's gone on the inside. And since he's blocking me with his head, he's able to change his levels. That's his first line of defense in wrestling. So once I catch through that, I'm going to pop out, and that allows me to clear his head and then throw. So.
And again, this is very popular. When you guys have wrestled, you know this is quite popular. Yeah. Can you do one more time, just the head and arm, not last time. So those are, at least from a methodology, a system of learning no-gi Tai Otoshi. This, to me, makes the most sense. You're always going to be pulling with your hikite, your pulling hand. And your lifting hand, your surite, has different functions. And 4 primary functions. There may be others as well, but those are the most common and I think the most effective.
Yeah. And when you don't have your standard grips like you would with the jacket, you have to be more mindful of what grips you do have left and really, really use those, because once you get them, you know, it's easier for them to slip out of it than it is to clear a jacket grip. So you really got to use them to your advantage. Whereas you can kind of overcome it a little bit if you don't quite have the right grip. You can pull harder and kind of lift them up by the jacket. You don't get that opportunity with no-gi. So you have to be a lot more cognizant of what your hands are doing.
Right. And you know, nothing in no-gi, we're wearing shirts and everything, but you know, you talk about body sweat, perspiration.
Yeah.
Makes your opponent slick, you're slick. So you got to have some good hand fighting. Good gripping there. So, all right. So no-gi Tai Otoshi. There we go. All right.